Hello and welcome back to the Thailand Championship here on HeflaTV 1. This is going to be a best of one series between Team Malaysia and First Departure. The winner is going to go straight into the grand finals and the loser is going to face up against Mineski for a spot also in the same grand finals. Whoever wins this game is going to have a one game advantage in the final best of three, which is quite honestly ridiculous. I hate it when tournaments do this, but either way, into the games we're going to go. I'm Grandis V and I'll be joined once again by Mike Loris.
And as per usual, Team Malaysia are going to make sure they don't get shotgunned down by the Decrepify Life Break combination. Gonna be sure to ban out the Huskar and Pugna because it seems like that's what they're going to be doing today. It doesn't matter who. I'm pretty sure like at this point they're just gonna ban these heroes for the rest of the tournament or for however long the rest of their tournament is going to be. Brewmaster Witch Doctor going to be the opening for Team Malaysia, whereas First Departure picking up the Centaur and Ventral and banning out the Naga Siren themselves, which is kind of weird.
It definitely is. Like, that's one of Miracle's favorite heroes to play on, and he's very good on it. And yeah, it's actually weird to see him, first of all, ban the Naga, and second of all, not pick the Terrorblade. Maybe Miracle is feeling after their nerfs that Terrorblade's not as strong, but honestly, I still think that they'd be able to pull off a first or second pick Terrorblade for that player.
Well, regardless, maybe First Departure are going to be playing this a little bit more aggressively. I mean, with Centaur Vengeful Spirit, it does seem to be the case, as those two heroes do love it when they're just always fighting. And then, as soon as I say that, they go ahead and pick up a Medusa. It could be played slightly aggressively, although generally you do want to stay back and get farm on the hero. We do see a lot of hate towards carries in this game, with Void Spec, Terrorblade, and Anti-Mage all getting the boot. But Medusa, I'd say, is perfectly serviceable for First Departure. We'll see if Team Malaysia want to meet First Departure head on in the late game or if they want to end the game before Medusa is really a threat.
Honestly, the Medusa pick kind of also feels like a ban pick coming out from First Departure. Is the Anti-Mage ban in normal circumstances looks fairly awkward, although the mana burn's kind of nice up against Brewmaster and Witch Doctor. Usually that means you're setting up for something like the Medusa, and without the Anti-Mage in the pool, that's one of the better carries for dealing with the stacked Medusas. The mana burn does so much effective damage to that hero.
Yeah, we have Mana Break out of the pool. We have Diffusal Naga out of the pool. First Departure maybe next leveling Team Malaysia to pick up this Medusa. But that being said, you don't really need mana burn in order to deal with Medusa. Just sheer damage is going to be enough sometimes, and it's never really too late to pick up mana burn. Like, just grab a Nyx Assassin and be perfectly fine with that. Nyx Assassin actually really good versus Medusa, but Team Malaysia instead going to go for an Ancient Apparition along with Witch Doctor. It's not the strongest combination, but they both have quite a bit of range, quite a bit of base damage, and if they play aggressively early on, they probably can get a little bit of something going, assuming the third hero to partner up with those two supports is somewhat adequate.
Yeah, if it offers any amount of lockdown, reliable lockdown in particular, if it has any sort of place stun, that tri-line is very scary. Even if it's not a ranged hero and they go for something like a Sven, Witch Doctor and Ancient Apparition are enough to abuse the Chilling Touch already, and then just having that ability to keep them in place, they're able to get that damage off is enough. Right now, Team Malaysia, I have no idea where they're going to take this draft from here on out. Brewmaster, Witch Doctor, Ancient Apparition are fairly non-committal picks. They're good in a lot of different scenarios. Right now, the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast isn't directly countering anything as far as heals coming out from First Departure, although it's still going to be a useful tool, and similar for the Witch Doctor. These supports do quite a lot of damage once they get their level 6 online, and both of them would love to have a Faceless Void to set up for them. However, First Departure have already banned out that hero.
Yeah, I feel like Team Malaysia are potentially setting themselves up for a Tidehunter pick down the line, as that large amount of AoE combined with Brewmaster Split, the Death Ward, Ice Blast, all that stuff is going to just be really nice at taking First Departure down in giant chunks and, maybe picking off Vengeful Spirit just in the crossfire. So Malaysia might be gearing up for something around those lines. And First Departure, they have Stampede, so they will be able to play around that somewhat. And Medusa, generally pretty tanky, assuming a semi-late game scenario, is going to be able to withstand that as well. But I think that would be a good way to go for Team Malaysia because they do have a lot of team fight right now. And First Departure, they have ways of getting around team fights, but in a heads-up fight, they should be able to come out ahead, Team Malaysia.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Heroes that would be fun to see as far as just making this Medusa an absolute monster. Magnus and Ogrenjai are still available, and that would give them a decent roaming duo, but instead they're going to go for the Alchemist. As it stands, I'm not sure how they're going to decide to lane this, whether this Alchemist is going to be a roaming support with the Venge, or whether it's just going to be their mid hero, and they're still lacking his support. Team Malaysia, go ahead and pick up the Bristleback.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be an Alchemist mid, although right now they obviously don't know who's on the other end, so it does have a little bit of flexibility there. They could decide to run it support if they really want to make that change of pace. I think in general, Alchemist support is a lot stronger, especially when you pair him up with Vengeful Spirit. That's 2 stuns plus a ton of minus armor. And when you're dealing with Bristleback, Brewmaster, inherently tanky heroes, minus armor is very useful. But I think I've seen Miracle run Alchemist before. I don't believe it won, but who knows? It may or may not be the case. They do ban out OD, so they are trying to protect their mid lane, whoever it is going to be. And with that OD ban, it does seem like Alchemist mid is more likely.
Yeah, definitely. Viper's still in the pool, however, and if they really wanted to shut down this Alchemist farm, a Viper would be a great way to do so, as well as kiting the Medusa around, although they'll have the Stampede in order to avoid that. Outside of the Stampede, Viper Strike is going to be very annoying for the Medusa to deal with. It would slant Team Malaysia more towards aggressive play, as well as, I don't know, just having to end the game early, but honestly, taking it late against Medusa, even if you have heroes in order to do so, is always very risky.
All right, so first departure burning through quite a bit of their remaining time. They still have a lot of flexibility, but it's going to be Skywrath Mage to be what they ultimately land on. I guess it's going to be now confirmed in Alchemist Core, as VS Skywrath Mage is pretty potent. First departure, they have quite a bit of burst damage, especially once Centaur Blink Dagger comes online. They'll be able to truck people really quickly, especially the Witch Doctor Ancient Apparition. If Team Malaysia can somehow survive any of that, then Voodoo Restoration is certainly going to be helpful, but surviving that burst, it's very difficult.
It's also a nice mix of physical as well as magical bursts. Magical coming out from the Centaur as well as the Skywrath Mage, and then you have the physical burst coming out from the Alchemist, and then the sustained physical damage to the Medusa. It's fairly interesting to see. If they're not careful, the Stone Gaze might get in the way. If it catches somebody out and they're trying to drop them with the Centaur and the Skywrath Mage. The last pick for Team Malaysia is going to be a Luna.
It's a hero that we don't really see too often, and it is going to be played by Mushi, so maybe they have a good read on what's going on right now, because they certainly know something that I don't. Luna being played by Mushi would indicate a mid lane hero, and Miracle on Medusa, maybe they are just next leveling it. Team Malaysia, the Luna's going to give them a lot more early game potential, but she's 100% reliant on a BKB this game. If she doesn't pick that up, the burst damage and the lockdown from first departure is going to crush the soft hero of the Luna. But she does have some pretty nice bodies to hide behind. Bristleback, Brewmaster, some of the more tankier heroes in the game, especially once Brewmaster is split. You can't really kill him off. So I could see Team Malaysia getting into first departure's base or into their towers before the Medusa really gets big, because Luna, her effectiveness starts a lot earlier than the Medusa's.
I'm half expecting heroes to be switched around, but even if they're not, Mushi as well as Miracle are fairly accustomed to playing fairly farm-heavy mids, so maybe they'll, I don't know, just mind-game each other. But for now, it is going to be on the Radiant side with first departure, and Miracle is going to stick with this Medusa, although not heading towards the mid lane, is looking towards the bottom as far as the safe lane farmer is concerned. Chaos on the Vengeful Spirit, Lubby on the Skywrath Mage, mid Alchemist going to be played by Luca, and leaving last but not least on the Radiant side, Doffa playing on the offlane Centaur Warner.
And on Team Malaysia, not really showing their hand just yet, but we do have Ohio heading down to the bottom lane, where it's likely he's going to stay. Net is going to be playing the support Witch Doctor KYXY on the Brewmaster, a very light build, maybe going to go towards mid. X is going to be playing the Ancient Apparition. That leaves Mushi going to be played towards top. So Brewmaster mid with the Luna up towards safe. Despite all of the potential for mind games and lane switcheroos, it looks like Team Malaysia are going to be laning this rather standard, and Ohio is in so much trouble right now. I don't know if KS saw him. Now he definitely saw him. He's getting hit with the magic missile, and Ohio actually doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't want to aggro Roshan either. Bad idea, although maybe Roshan denies the only way he can actually get out of this. He's going to get stunned up and chain stunned. Roshan doing a lot of damage to first departure, but Ohio voluntarily putting himself in a corner. I honestly don't think he could have gotten out of there anyway, but he was very eager to try to pick up that 0-minute rune, and it costed him his life.
It's also going to be First Blood going the way of the Medusa played by Miracle, and that's a very scary hero and player to give this early amount of gold to. Already a wonderful start for First Departure, and a pretty awful one for Team Malaysia. The Bristleback is a hero that kind of needs to be able to sit in the lane fairly effectively in order to get that extra amount of gold and experience. As an offlaner, he's kind of greedy in the fact that he doesn't get level 6 or get a Blink Dagger and then instantly come online. He needs a little bit more than that, and this game, I'm not sure Ohio is going to be able to do so. He's starting out with a Magic Wand, which is a decent starting item up against the Skywrath Mage, going to negate a little bit of that spam coming out from the Arcane Bolts, but with no points in Bristleback yet. It's only level 1 for the Bristle. It's just going to be a very difficult situation.
Yes, I don't expect the Bristleback to be getting that much, but to be fair, Dafa up on top lane is not going to be facing a safe situation either. The Luna base damage is going to mean that, well, that together with Chilling Touch is just so much damage for any hero, let alone a Centaur. He's tanky for sure, but he's already going to get aggressed upon. Look at the damage, just a couple of right clicks, dropping him down to half HP. If they had any sort of follow-up disable, if they had Chilling Touch or Cold Feet or anything like that, that would have been a kill on the Centaur, but Centaur is not going to be able to get anything done here, and Centaur is a hero that does have a large spike of power once he gets the Blink Dagger, so that in that case is going to be a little bit more fortunate for First Departure. If they somehow find a kill or two, then the Centaur is all of a sudden right back into this game. It's something Ohio, as you said, is not going to have the benefit of, but it looks like Dafa, he knows that he's not going to be getting Jack in this lane. He's going to leave and start the very slow process of Centaur jungle.
It's not actually a thing. He went for return level 1 as well, which means this is going to be incredibly slow. Later on, once you have Double Edge as well as Tranquil Boots, your jungle farm is okay. But yeah, this is going to be one of the slowest farming heroes you've ever seen. Slightly faster than a support, but honestly not much. This is also going to leave Mushi in a 1v0 lane as soon as the supports decide to rotate, which honestly they probably should, as Luna doesn't need any help. Or maybe they just look for some stacks to accelerate their farm that way.
Yeah, I think they could get a lot done if they rotate over towards mid, and they already have a smoke available, so that might be what they're aiming to do, as if they do get onto the Alchemist, if KYXY lands a clap at all, he's going to be just fine to start off that fight for the Chilling Touch and the follow-up stuns, but it looks like for right now they're content with just leaving it as it is. They're just going to secure the rune and just be happy with that. Invis rune secured by the Vengeful Spirit that was, however, spotted by Ohio. He is deciding to stick in this lane, so he's going to play it a little bit more dangerously for sure, as he's not going to have the luxury of his jungle to keep him safe, but he's also going to get a little bit more, assuming First Departure don't have complete control over their lanes with the pulls. And if they slip up for just a little bit, levels for Bristleback equals survivability.
Definitely. Right now, the Invis rune, since it was spotted out, is not going to net them a kill on the Bristleback, but even just the threat of the Magic Missile initiation is going to keep Bristleback at arm's length, barely sitting in experience range, if even that. He's going to walk up to get experience from a couple of creeps. This might end up costing him his life eventually. Guess Invis rune is going to wear off right about now, and he's not going to do anything with it, except for hit a Bristleback once, which really doesn't do anything. Centaur, currently sitting at level 2, is a little bit behind the Bristleback, but it's still serviceable. This Centaur is not going to have very much of an impact, if any at all.
So the Bristleback actually getting a pretty huge benefit in lane, placing the Observer Ward over towards the secondary pull camp, and First Departure, they invested 2 sentries that are both just out of range of that Observer, so there's going to be no double pulling, which means that Ohio is guaranteed a lot more experience. Already he's reaping the benefits as the wave pushes deep into his tier 1 tower. He's going to get quite a few levels off of this one. Already level 4 in the hero, not much farm because he can't really step up, but he's going to get quite a bit regardless. And now KS, does Ohio know he's back there? It seems like he doesn't, and Chaos might take this as an opportunity to potentially make a tower dive happen. This is very dangerous, though. A level 2 Bristleback, 8 stick charges, and 2 Bristleback, or level 4 Bristleback with 2 Bristleback and 8 stick charges is going to be very difficult to bring down.
Definitely, and they're going to decide against it. The changes to the trees make dives like that a little bit easier, but Bristleback's a hero that if you dive and you don't kill him instantly and he gets a couple too many stacks of the Quill Spray up on you, he might just turn that around and get 1 or 2 kills of his own before falling, and maybe not even fall at that. So it's fairly risky. The runes are going to be secured, Bounty Rune for the Brewmaster, and Haste Rune for the Alchemist. With this rune, the Alchemist might be able to make something happen down in bottom, but again, the vision coming out from this ward of the Bristleback is going to make sure that that Alchemist rotation isn't going to do anything.
And Alchemist is really, I would assume, going to struggle a lot against the Brew, and that is the case, 13 for 1. So if Alchemist isn't doing well in lane, and if he's not roaming around, then as a mid-hero, he's pretty much just dead weight. KYXY does not quite yet have his level 6 mark, so there's no split available. His kill potential is going to be stymied because of that. But once he does get that, then he can open the door for kills on the Alchemist. And Alchemist, this is why I kind of don't like him in mid. He's extremely passive, very much so like a Dragon Knight, but he doesn't really have that explosive burst of power unless he's going to be roaming, and we clearly see that's not going to be the case this game.
Yeah, right now, the top lane, we've kind of glanced away from it since the Centaur has completely left it. Mushi's having a great time, as to be expected. He's 31 and 24, just passively farming, keeping the lane at a perfect spot for him to continue this for the foreseeable future. But in mid, we are going to have a jump onto the poor Brewmaster with the Magic Missile Silence, as well as the haste run on the Alchemist. It'll be a very easy kill from this setup, accelerating Centaur's farm a little bit, but most importantly, helping the Alchemist out.
Yeah, Alchemist is going to really be happy with that, and they chains on the Brewmaster quite well. They didn't even use the silence, I don't believe, so that could have been even another layer of CC in order to disable the split from the Brew, and that's going to put First Departure at a very early 2-0, or not that early, but a nice 2-0 advantage in this game. Rotating 4 heroes over towards the mid lane is something that you very rarely prepare for, and you're not going to survive if you are caught unawares, and I mean, obviously, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to see that one coming. So dropping the Brewmaster there is kind of to be expected, but it's not going to be that great for Team Malaysia. But fortunately for Ohio, because of that rotation out, he's getting quite a bit of farm and experience. He's actually putting the screws to Miracle pretty hard, dropping him pretty low with just a few stacks of those quills.
Yeah, Miracle deciding against using the Mana Shield. I'm not sure if I like that. Although Medusa is a hero that benefits very heavily from having the wand or stick available, Medusa isn't going to want to hold on to that item for very long. I think it's still worthwhile, especially in this lane, and starting out with 3 branches.
Okay, so it's just going to be a relatively passive, or overall passive start. Attempted at aggression over towards mid, but Brewmaster, he's a hard nut to crack, and if you don't get him from the beginning with a nice chain stun, you're probably not going to get it at all. Net is in a little bit of trouble. He will get the heal off before he's in any trouble. Now Dafa is going to take a stun, but there's no real follow-up. Mushi does have an Eclipse, but he's way too far away. They're going to chase the Centaur down. Lucent Beam is there, and he's actually going to run away. No cast, no nothing to interrupt this. Centaur is able to slip away unscathed. Mushi's still farming, though. I think if ever you go for a Midas on Luna, this should be the game, but it looks like he's going to go for a straight BKB. Not a bad item either, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just going to try to fight very early on with his team.
It seems that way. Not even opting to upgrade the boots before going for the Ogre Club. I think it's just going to be like power treads into BKB after the Aquila. Mushi could honestly go for whatever he wants. I think this game is a decent Midas game for him, although taking it late up against Medusa is potentially not what Team Malaysia are looking to do. And as a team, they like playing fairly aggressively early on. I'm not sure if they have the heroes to do it, however. They need this Blink Dagger on the Brewmaster, which is still a couple minutes off.
Yeah, and First Departure, they are kind of rotating around aggressively, although not really getting that much done. They're still providing a lot of just passive pressure and keeping Team Malaysia on their toes. Chaos and Lubby, they're kind of stalled out waiting for their rune. Unfortunately, they are not actually rotating around. Let's take a look at these levels. It's level 3 across the board for all the supports, so no real edge going one way or the other, but Malaysia, they're kind of just stalling out and letting Medusa farm. And, you know, even though they have a Luna that's farming, I would say I would be a little bit more scared of a Medusa with a lot of farm.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Their peaks come at different timings. Once the Luna gets to BKB, that's going to be a pretty good time for Malaysia to go. Right now we have a smoke coming up from First Departure with 3 heroes wrapping around. The Centaur is going to eat a paralyzing cask, but that's about all that's going to happen. Now the Alchemist Concoction is going to be thrown away. The Witch Doctor dropping so low with that minus armor. Luna's going to survive, and that could have gone a lot worse for Team Malaysia, I feel. They commit a lot up to this top lane and only come away with the Witch Doctor kill. It's still nice for them, but is it nice enough? I'm not sure.
First Departure are starting very early on with the group up and just go for it. Obviously, this is buying Miracle quite a bit of space, but it's also giving Ohio a little bit of space, to be fair, I suppose. They're just catching Malaysia with numbers, sheer cold numbers, and at a certain point, you can't really do anything about that. Unless you have instantaneous TP support, you're going to drop. And really, Bristleback not willing to leave the lane when he's been cut off so early on, and Brewmaster wants to farm up for his Blink Dagger, so he's unlikely to teleport in as well. At this point, Malaysia just want to get their Blink Dagger up on the Brewmaster. It's really the only objective that they have, and as long as First Departure keep on with these rotations, they should be fine to delay this. They won't stop it, obviously. It's going to happen eventually, but KYXY actually is now going to rotate, wants to use the split, and it's going to be tough. The Centaur Warrunner doesn't have a Stampede, but he's still pretty tanky.
Let's see how it's going to break down. They start things off with the cast coming up from the Witch Doctor, follow up with the clap. They don't even use the split. The stomp's going to land, but the damage should be enough to kill off Dafa. KYXY is going to reserve that cooldown, and we'll have it once he gets his Blink Dagger online. It's a fairly clean kill on the Centaur, and I think it's perfectly acceptable. In mid, we're going to see the Bristleback going on the Alchemist, although not going to be able to get the kill. Ohio's getting a little bit of space. Then again, he's leaving Medusa completely free in the bottom lane. She's going to put some pressure on this tier 1 tower. In fact, quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Ring of Basilius is on, drums are up, and she's just going to go for it. Bristleback is going to defend. In the meantime, top lane, the push is going to come from Team Malaysia at the exact same time. This might be a tier 1 for tier 1, although I'm not sure First Departure are going to be able to push down the bottom lane. Mushi with 3 points in that aura is putting some serious hurt on with the Ring of Aquila turned on, and with the threat of Brewmaster splitting, I don't think First Departure can or will defend this top lane tower. This is going to be the first tower actually dropped by Team Malaysia up on top. That's going to be a nice little gold chunk for them, and it's going to help the Luna get to her crucial BKB. If she has that, then she's going to be more than happy to take the 3v4 fights, knowing that BKB Eclipse is going to be a very scary thing, probably the most scary thing for the most part. But now they're going to jump in a bottom lane. Luca is going to take the hit with the clap, but Miracle's going to get the Stone Gaze off first. He's going to be forcing the Brewmaster to turn away, and he's going to buy himself a lot of time to get away to safety. However, the Alchemist is not so lucky. He's going to try to channel a stun. That's not going to do jack. Luna's going to get the kill, and that's going to be snowballing into a tier 1 tower.
Yeah. Mushi now with the Mithril Hammer on top of the Ogre Club. Team Malaysia, after a fairly slow start to this game, are now going to start picking up momentum. Mid, the Bristleback still trying to find his opening as far as farm is concerned. It is going to be a mech build coming out from Hyo, kind of to be expected. Yeah, the tier 1 tower down in bottom is more or less going to be completely forfeit by First Departures. They drop Miracle up in top, and nobody's even there to defend it. With Voodoo Restoration as well as the Luna Aura and the Aquila turned on, it's a very easy tower for Team Malaysia to take, and it's a lot of gold that First Departure are giving up. It is buying time for the Medusa, but is it buying enough time? In mid, we'll see Extinct eat an Alchemist concoction, which chunks him down about a third, but now they're diving deep under the tower. The Ancient Apparition is probably going to fall, especially with the way that he's running. They're looking for any lockdown. He's pretty darn fast with the Arcane Boots, and he is going to survive. The Centaur is the one to fall to the Bristleback and his goo and quills. Now they find themselves a chaos with the concussive, oh my goodness, the cast, as well as the clap, and now they're going to drop a double kill for Ohio. That dive was ill-advised coming out from First Departures. They're going to be punished heavily for it. Now with Mushi in this lane, tier 1 tower mid is probably also going to fall. 3 to 4 our kill score. Team Malaysia are coming back fairly strong. They do use the Eclipse on the backlines. I didn't see what that actually accomplished for Mushi. But now tier 1 tower is going to be theirs, 90% sure. Haste Rune on KYXY is going to be running interference on the backlines, although without any split, still a Brewmaster with haste is a pretty scary Brewmaster with those crits. Concussion shot's going to fly, as well as a concoction going the way of Net, and he's going to be dropped down almost instantly. Aluka is going to be running after them with the Stampede. Now they're trying to focus down Mushi as well as this Bristleback. They're going to leave the Bristleback on the back lines, and now Mushi going to eat a Mystic Snake, couple more auto attacks, one more from the Venge is going to do him in. The Bristleback makes it away towards this tower, but this time it's First Departure's turn to counter-engage with that Stampede being crucial.
Yeah, that was a fresh Stampede as well. The Luna used her Eclipse in order to try to kill off the Alchemist after that first fight, but she didn't get it. Now they're going to go right in for Ohio again. Silencing up, but KYXY's in the middle of this fight. Stone Gaze is out for Miracle, and everyone has just got to turn tail and book it. Miracle is going to get quite a bit of space, but now the split is there. Miracle is completely out of mana. He does have level 4 mana shield, but that's not going to last for very long, as the Brewmaster is going to tear through him in a hurry. He's getting actually a lot more space. He's going to try to turn around and go instead for the Alchemist. I guess he's going to take the easy kill, and you can't really blame him for that, but he's going to throw the Medusa up into the air, and now he has a clap upon her landing. Swap from KS, not available. He's only level 5. KYXY is going to jump in for Miracle. Cass going to be bouncing around, however, we'll jump to the creeps. Miracle's still taking damage, and he's going to go down in the end, but it's going to be at the cost of KYXY. Mushi now in this fight has a lot of extra damage to offer to team. Ice Blast going to fly through, which is going to clip Lubby. It will kill him off with the Luna Beam, and that's going to be 4 for 1. Team Malaysia going to make it 5 for 1, as Dafa is going to try desperately to get something going. Killing off Ohio, not going to happen. Mushi collects a triple kill after all said and done. And this is just back and forth in the mid lane, a sheer bloodbath, but Malaysia, they come out ahead this time, and this time they take a tower. That's a definitive lead.
It definitely is. The entire gold swing is going to be about 1,500 going in the favor of Team Malaysia, and this is pretty huge. The Medusa is the only one that's really keeping up with Team Malaysia's farm. The Alchemist is honestly doing nothing. He's working towards a mechanism, but that's a mechanism that the offlane Bristleback already has, as well as the boots upgrade. You're going to have Mushi now rocking the BKB, and from here on out, Luna is just so hard for them to take down. This is going to get even worse. Now that he has a couple of stacks to farm up that the Witch Doctor was preparing for him earlier on in the laning phase. Despite not having any lifesteal to sustain, he has the Bristleback to tank for him.
And this is just one of the 2 stacks that he has, but First Departure are keen to this. Ohio's going to spot everything out. He has a mech, and he's pretty damn tanky. If he can get his mech off, and it looks like he will be able to do so. Here comes the Ice Blast, Lucent Beam as well. Ice Blast is going to completely whiff. The slow onto the Alchemist, not going to do much because of the Stampede, but the goo is already there, and Alchemist now with 4 stacks of quills. Soon to be 5, he's going to be dropped slowly. Maybe he might make it out alive. The Vortex is there going to slow him down. Ohio now going to take a hit from the Concoction. Chaos going to swap the Alchemist out. Still KYXY is going to give chase. This Chemical Rage, though, is making it so damn difficult to kill him off, but it wears off, and that's going to be the death of the Alchemist. Now over towards mid lane. Net is on the run. Mushi is sitting in the middle of everything. Wants an Eclipse, is going to get it off. It's only level 1, however. It is going to kill off the Centaur, then kill off KS shortly after. Now he has level 2 Eclipse for the next fight. Miracle is now on the run from Ohio. Lubby's going to straight TP out. He should be just fine to make it out. He's going to... Yeah, it looks like everyone else is going to survive, although KYXY has a Blink Dagger, and he's going to look to give chase. Still, it's Team Malaysia coming out ahead after another great fight, and Luna showing off her fresh BKB, now sitting at 5-1-3, is going to be pretty damn devastating. The Medusa having to fight early on is not really what you want to have happen for First Departure.
It is not what they want to have happening. It's Miracle with Aquila as well as Drums. Now a Yasha completed. It's a Medusa that's pretty well equipped to be fighting this early on, but it's not happy Medusa time. Right now, Medusa would be much rather farming, and its First Departure having to fully commit to Miracle. That said, Miracle's still keeping up with the Luna as far as net worth is concerned, but in the impact in the team fights, Medusa is a little bit lackluster. Her damage just isn't there yet. Luna is so lucky in that last team fight. She didn't get a single bounce to creeps, and there was 2 creeps and 2 heroes, and the 4 bounces found the Vengeful Spirit as well as the Alchemist only, which is pretty ridiculous. Still, things like that happen, and it's going to be a 1-team fight by Team Malaysia again. Vengeful Spirit currently has an illusion sitting inside the Roshan pit. It's going to be moved out of there, as it's unlikely that Team Malaysia are going to be going for that immediately, although that might be their next major objective to look towards, as the tier 2 towers aren't very easy to push into without a second life on their Luna. And right now, Roshan is going to be where they're going to be heading towards. KO actually blinks into the pit. This is immediately noticed by the Vengeful Spirit. Everybody was spotted out previously by that illusion, so it's no surprise that Roshan's going down, although it's a fairly quick Roshan.
Yeah, this is level 3 Lunar Blessing, going to give them all some pretty serious damage, not to mention the vicious nasal goo that they have to deal with. And also Net with level 3 heal is going to make this both a very quick Roshan and a very safe Roshan, and it's not going to get much better than that. He's going to drop the Aegis for Mushi, now with a BKB and a double life. Now going for the tier 2 towers is very much so worth it. Miracle's trying to split push a little bit, but looks like he will dodge KYXY's TP in. Team Malaysia should still be looking for a fight right now, as with the Aegis they are just so much more powerful than First Departure, and I think it might just be mid. I mean, Mushi, he does have an Eclipse in 20, so that's probably what they're going to be waiting for, but by the time they actually need the Eclipse, they're going to have it.
I absolutely love the choice coming out from Team Malaysia to block off the Medusa's camps. It's going to stop her farm by quite a bit. At the meantime, it is Medusa farming in the top lane as well as excuse me, in the enemy jungle, but this has stopped several stacks from going for Medusa, which is a great way to accelerate her farm. Still Medusa at the top of the net worth chart, working towards the Mantis style. It is going to be pretty easy for them, but right now it's Team Malaysia's turn to turn on the aggression, and I don't think this is going to stop for quite a long time.
Yeah, they're going to smoke up and secure an Invis rune, so double Invis right now for Team Malaysia. They're going to rotate down bottom, and First Departure might be inclined to defend this. They do know, of course, that Mushi has double life. They don't know that Team Malaysia are smoked up, although the Alchemist might find that one out in a hurry. I don't think they could actually jump on him from this angle, but they are going to have an opportunity once Vengeful Spirit wraps around. There are no auras or anything like this, so First Departure should not know about this. They have one observer not in place, but KYXY is going to go for it. Dafa now forced to stampede out. KYXY is awkwardly stuck now away from the rest of his team. He does have an Invis rune, though. There's a sentry. Now the Death Ward from the high ground. KYXY going to get a little bit of tower support from Net, but he's going to hit with the Mystic Flare. He's going to just find a corner to escape, and now he's going to split. And actually, the Earth Panda got up to the high ground. That was such a baller escape from KYXY. I don't know if that was intentional, but hot damn, that was that cool.
Yeah, so Brewmaster is going to live. He can't really sit here, but now Miracle's in the wrong corner of the neighborhood, completely tapped out mana. The Boulder Toss is going to land. Brewmaster needs to get out of here. Now the Hoof Stomp is going to clip onto Ohio. Ohio's being focused down, but he's pretty darn tanky. He's going to eat a negative Urn Charge, swap away from Vengeful Spirit, is going to secure the kill on the Venge, as well as on the Alchemist. The Medusa is going to eat a Lucent Beam, and that's going to be an unstoppable spree for Mushi, as well as a double kill. And the remainder of the BKB kills off Lubby. Buyback from the Alchemist is only going to be able to drop an Acid Spray. Despite losing a personal back, Team Malaysia have just blown this game wide open.
Mushi held on to that Eclipse for quite a long time and really nets level 4 Voodoo Restoration, making that fight for them. The Bristleback, he's a very tanky hero, and he's so much more tanky once you add additional healing onto him. He did go down in the end, but when you're focused down by the entire enemy team, you're kind of expected to go down. He bought so much time, though, for the rest of Team Malaysia to just do whatever the hell they wanted. And by Team Malaysia, I meant he bought time for Mushi to do whatever the hell he wanted. Now with 3,800 gold in the bank, 715, this Luna is going to be so very terrifying. And that was even Team Malaysia taking a fight without Split and without Death Ward. They previously used it to get pretty much nothing done. So first departure, they lose a fight like that without having the enemies use their ultimates. I can't imagine what the next fight is going to be like.
Yeah, especially now that Brewmaster goes for Vlad's. I love this choice coming out from KYXY instead of going for the Aghanim Scepter. I think it's something that a lot more Brewmasters should do, especially when you're looking to end the game, or at least put pressure on the enemy team immediately. The extra damage from the aura is going to be really nice, although nobody benefits from lifesteal greatly except for him and the Brewmaster. Yeah, it's still going to be very nice for them. And now to add on to the Bristleback's tankiness, he's going to pick up the Vanguard, presumably going for the Crimson. It's going to stop quite a decent amount of the damage coming out from first departure. The Scarlet Mage ultimate, as well as the Vengeful Spirit Magic Missile and the Centaur Burst is still going to go through, but Mushi doesn't care, and if Mushi doesn't care, his team doesn't really care either. The next item for Luna is going to be a Butterfly, just casually picking up an Eagle Song.
Yeah, it's really the burst damage from first departure's spells that Team Malaysia really have to respect, and when you hit BKB, you don't really have to respect that. Now, mid lane Alchemist is going to hit with a Frost Blast, and that's going to secure his Doom. No regeneration on him. It looks like he will shatter, although it's going to be very close. I think he's dead. It's gonna be, he's going to survive just barely, but they don't get the Alchemist, but they get the tier 2 tower. No trades in sight for first departure. Miracle trying to split push top lane. That's not going to happen. Team Malaysia make an easy smash and grab on a tier 2, and that means more gold for the Luna's Butterfly, which is soon to be up. She's going to lose her Aegis soon enough, which is a little bit unfortunate for Team Malaysia. Can't get any value off of that. But they will go for, I think, the final tier 2 when they still have this momentum. And first departure, they're still unable to get any sort of defense going.
Yeah, they're really not. The Medusa has farm, which is nice for first departure, but at this point, Medusa can't kill the entire enemy team, which is what Miracle needs to do. The Alchemist isn't really holding his own weight. Mechanism Phase Boots is nice for an Alchemist to have 10 minutes ago, but at this point in the game, it's not going to cut the cake. Only 1 point in the Greevil is greed as well for Luca. He's not going to be able to catch up in the farm and either hit harder, survive during the team fights, or anything of the sort. Centaur has his Blink Tag, which is nice for initiations, but then again, no pipe, no survivability items. On top of that, not even a Force Staff for the extra mobility. First departure's gold is really all pooled into this Medusa. Crimson Guard, now picked up by the Bristleback, is going to make it very hard for first departure to fight. A lot of that split shot damage is going to be mitigated by this Crimson Guard and just make it very annoying for first departure to fight into them. Everybody's going to be ridiculously tanky.
If you're going to be funneling gold to one hero, the Medusa is going to be that hero, but she just needs so much more gold than she has right now. Like 10,000 net worth is pretty damn good, but it's just not good enough when you're facing down Team Malaysia with Luna topping your Medusa and then 2 other cores not too far behind your own Medusa. That's going to be the final tier 2 tower being brought down by Team Malaysia, and Luna's just 500 gold away from having a completed Butterfly. If she does get into a fist fight with Medusa, assuming no Stone Gaze interference, which is, obviously going to happen, she is going to win very handily. And also, you can't forget the Moonglaves. If you're going to be pushing tier 3s, and if you bring down tier 3 and you're hitting Raxes, those bounces are going to tear through these very soft first departure supports. Like Scarith Mage Venge, they're not going to be able to withstand that bounce damage. So this is getting very scary for first departure, but they're not going to give up. They're going to smoke up and try to look for someone. They still have a crap ton of bursts from their spells. If they find anyone, they should be able to get this kill, and it might be a Witch Doctor. It's a very easy kill to take. Not the highest priority, but hey, it's something.
And they will find the something. Double Edge, they don't even need to drop a Mystic Flare. He drops instantly anyway. There is going to be a group up coming out from the rest of Team Malaysia around the Roshan pit. The Roshan has the potential to be respawning in about a minute 10 seconds. We're not going to see that exact timer until around then. Team Malaysia, if it's a fast Roshan timer, they'll be able to go high ground very effectively. But honestly, they can't go high ground without an Aegis right now, even though they have a large amount of power, especially not when they lose their Witch Doctor. Even though it's the least important hero on their side, or at least I would say, in teamfight effectiveness, it's still going to be going into it 4v5, and they just can't do that. But they are going to be content in farming the enemy jungle, as well as waiting out that Roshan timer. They're not really on or under any pressure at the moment until Medusa gets another item or two, and that's still a long ways away from Miracle.
Yeah, Manta Style is a fantastic item on Medusa for sure, but if you're going to be fighting up against the entire enemy team, you really need something that gives you a lot of damage, and Manta Style is not exactly that item. She needs, you know, an MKB or Daedalus or a Butterfly Scotty, items that cost a hell of a lot of gold, and Medusa has a good amount of gold. 2,400 is pretty good, but it's certainly not going to be enough when she's under this much pressure. Now that Luna has her Butterfly, soon to have a Helm of the Dominator, I would imagine, Mushi's going to be just a one-man army, and Roshan is, the respawn is not going to be revealed to us just yet. Malaysia, they're hoping for like a 10-second respawn. Oh my god, it's a 30-second respawn. Malaysia are going to be so happy about that. They're going to take this so easily.
Absolutely. They don't know it's a 27 respawn yet, but I assume they'll check it sooner rather than later. With Ice Vortex, they have decent tools to poke into the Roshan pit, but maybe they just go down bottom without checking Roche. They're certainly posturing towards it. They are going to ping out the Roche pit, or at least Witch Doctor is. They're going to scout with the courier. I like this move coming out from them. They don't have to commit their heroes, and they're going to find this Roshan respawn timer. And just like that, Mushi's going to make a beeline towards that pit. They might have to push out top a little bit before they go for it, but this Roshan is so fast for them, with the Luna Aura as well as with the Midas armor coming out from the Bristleback.
They're not going for it, and I think this is a mistake. I mean, there's no reason to fight without Aegis when you could just as easily fight with Aegis. If they lose a fight decisively right now, then they're not going to have the chance to back it up because First Departure will just take it. KYXY is going to jump in, but instantly get silenced. Not bursted down, however. So overall, the jump in from Team Malaysia, not the best, but it's also not bad as they didn't actually use anything. Now they're going to back off. So they made an attempt, I suppose. They didn't use anything, but they don't actually get anything done. They should have just went for Roshan. It should have been so easy. Mushi is going to teleport top and clear that out. Now, if they don't go for Roshan, I would say that's a mistake.
Yeah, they pop Crimson Guard and put a little bit of damage onto the tower, but it's actually a lot more than I thought they would. Those Luna bouncing glaives doing work. But still, it's very little committed from either team. This might give First Departure an opportunity to potentially contest this Roshan, but honestly, I think it's too risky doing so. They'd be jumping into a pit with an Eclipse BKB Luna, and that's not a very happy place to be in. Brewmaster also is going to be pretty adept at fighting at this point with no BKB on anybody on the side of First Departure. Roshan is going to be taken by Team Malaysia very quickly. In the meantime, it is going to be a stack farm by Miracle, although only a 2-stack, so not the most significant of things. And yeah, there's your Aegis for Mushi.
Alright, so now it's going to be Team Malaysia making a real effort down towards bottom lane. That one was just a show of force, showing the First Departure that they can go in if they didn't have Aegis, if they wanted to, but they didn't want to. So now they're going to grab the Aegis and then go in. We can see the line being drawn by Net. He knows exactly what we know, and well, they know that they could probably force a fight and come out on top. I think the only thing that could really go well for First Departure is if they somehow silence the Brewmaster and bring him down without split, because as powerful as Team Malaysia and the Luna are, they are still reliant on the Brewmaster split in order to just have all of that interference. And if KYXY gets bursted down before that, then Team Malaysia, I could see them losing a fight even with this Aegis. But if that doesn't happen, then it should just be First Departure getting crushed.
Right now, First Departure pushing out top lane with pretty much everybody. They have TPs to get back down, and they need to get back down very quickly. They potentially could go for this tier 2, and actually Team Malaysia are going to back off. The Bristleback doesn't cancel his TP, however. This might mean that they have to wait, and Mushi is going to back off. Very unfortunate for them. Ohio is going to get some farm out of this, but that's a win for First Departure.
Yeah, they can't really go in without their Bristleback. He's so tanky and has 2 huge teamfight items in the Crimson Guard and Mech, and if you're voluntarily fighting without that, then you're just putting yourselves at unnecessary risk. So First Departure, they're going to get a little bit of time, but I don't know if it's actually going to matter in the end, as Bristleback is going to very quickly make his way down towards this bottom area, which is still being pressured by Team Malaysia. So First Departure, they're not going to be able to comfortably farm anywhere else, knowing that a fight can break out at any minute. Really, it's just the Bristleback has got to come around, and he's going to walk actually straight to a Sentry Ward. Ohio might be in a little bit of trouble. He's very tanky. He's going to get jumped on with the Mystic Flare and the burst damage. He's going to take so much. The mech is not even going to be available. Oh, man, wrong place, wrong time. First Departure with the Observer Ward, spotting that Invis rune pickup, is going to slow Team Malaysia down by another 50 seconds, probably like a minute and a half at the very least.
Yeah. It's going to be time for Mushi to farm up the enemy jungle, potentially looking towards the Satanic. He's still, give or take, 2,000 gold off before he has that completed. Although, that's not out of the question. They are just going back off and push out these side lanes while they wait for the Bristleback to respawn. Twice, Bristleback's going to find himself in a really awkward situation where he doesn't cancel a TP top, and then he gets spotted out by a sentry. The TP cancel could have been avoided, but getting caught out there, it's, I don't know, not something you expect to have happen. It is going to be a Scotty on our Medusa. She's pretty darn tanky, but still not tanky enough, and crucially for her, or Miracle rather, it's not going to be enough damage to kill off the entirety of the enemy team unless they get a beautiful Centaur Stomp or Alchemist stun.
And that is always a possibility. If you land one of those skills on 2 heroes, then of course the next skill is probably going to land on 2 heroes as well, and then things get really messy. Team Malaysia, they are now alive, and oh ho ho, a double damage rune. Luna would love to get her hands on that, although she's not going to get her hands on that because she doesn't want to. She's instead going to run forward and run to Lubby, who is going to plant an Observer Ward, and Mushi's actually not going to be able to make anything happen off of this one. Sentries being dropped everywhere, actually forcing out the Stampede. That was actually quite a nice win for Team Malaysia. They don't actually do anything, but they get an ultimate anyway.
Yeah, Mushi doesn't want to pick up that double damage rune until they want to commit fully for this team fight, but they'll be able to do so. My goodness, okay. Well, Bristleback bottles it, that's okay, but I would have liked to see him pass the bottle to Luna in place of the Aquila and have Mushi have that double damage, because that would be ridiculous in the team fights. That's 142 bonus damage for Mushi, half a rapier that you could be giving to your carry.
And Bristleback with double damage rune is going to make him a threat, and right now he's a hero that First Departure will be more inclined to ignore, so this isn't a terrible decision, although it could be better. They're just going to jump in blind with the split. I guess this is the safe way to go, although I don't know if this is the best way to go. They're going to very easily take down tier 3s, and now the bouncing is going to start. Let's look at that damage, and Miracle's going to jump right into the middle of everything with Stone Gaze. Muchi going to turn his face and then pop the Eclipse, doing a lot of damage to Dafa mostly. He's going to be brought down as Miracle's thrown up into the air. He will land straight into KYXY. He can take a beam, get a hit with the stun. KYXY can eat an entire Mystic Flare, but he's going to shrug that one off pretty easily. Now the Death Ward is being channeled. KS is not going to be able to interrupt that. In the meantime, Miracle dropping very low on mana. He can't really get back up to the front lines. All of Team Malaysia are still at full HP. There's still an Aegis. It's a very easy smash and grab. They take a couple of kills, force a buyback, and now Mushi can hit with a double edge. Dafa's going to want in on Mushi, but he has a BKB and Aegis. He doesn't really care. Mushi dropping pretty low, but Net is going to keep him right back up to full. Dafa's going to be the one to focus down. KYXY now going to jump onto the Alchemist. He's going to bring him down with the clap on the rest. Miracle dropping very low, as will KS. That's going to be death of the Medusa, and that's going to be the death of the Vengeful Spirit as well. They have buybacks on Alchemist and Medusa. They're going to be forced to buy back with, I think, everyone, else they lose a second set of Raxes. Still, everyone on Team Malaysia, they're pretty much at full HP. Net's mana pool is running somewhat dry, but I think it's going to be just enough to take down this tier 3 tower and Raxes if they really want to push it. It looks like they're going to play this cautiously. Mushi getting a full restore due to the Aegis. However, Net being out of mana means that Team Malaysia can't comfortably push anymore. Doesn't really matter. They took a tier 3 plus an entire set of Raxes.
Even scarier for First Departure is the gold swing after that. If you had a chance to look at the fight recap, it was like 3,500 gold lost by First Departure and 3,500 gold gained by Team Malaysia. That's going to be a ridiculous swing in the graph. And if you just look at that, it's a cliff. It's right down into Team Malaysia's favor. Almost 20,000 now for that fully updates. And similar for experience. Although not as drastic, it's still pretty ridiculous.
That's, I think, the most vertical I've ever seen one of these graphs.
It really is. It's because they were forced to buy back on 4 heroes. They don't end up dying back, but that's a complete team wipe plus 4 buybacks, and that's terrifying if you're First Departure. Your item progression on Medusa just got completely stopped, and at this point, I don't think there's any other item other than Rapier that you can go for and even have a chance at winning this game, but Rapier is so far away from Medusa.
Yeah, that's really their only hope right now. If you get a Butterfly, as nice as that is on Medusa, it's just not going to be providing you enough damage, because Mushi has now a completed Butterfly with a completed Satanic. They tried to kill off Mushi, and they put some serious damage into her, but without being able to 100-0 Luna, I mean, already just with Net's heal, they weren't able to kill off Mushi if it's not 100-0. Now with the Satanic, if they don't 100-0, Mushi's going to turn around and single-handedly get back into full, but now Mushi's putting himself in a little bit of danger. Dafa off to the side. Mushi's going to start dueling with Miracle. However, Net is there with the heal. Mushi is more than happy to take this duel. Here comes the Mystic Flare onto Mushi, but into the BKB. Going to start going for Dafa, who's going to try to go for Net, getting rid of the heal, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be Centaur down. Now the Death Ward being channeled. Going to kill off the Alchemist in a hurry, although he's going to barely survive in the end. It's going to be Miracle to take the brunt now. Swap out from KS, although it's not actually going to help. KS is going to run the other way, try to give Medusa a little bit of space. That's going to fail. Miracle's going to drop right into a swarm of Team Malaysia heroes, and he's going to call GG before he dies. That's going to be Team Malaysia bulldozing their way through first departure. And holy crap, this Luna is farmed.
Yeah, it really is. Team Malaysia just looked so strong in this game, and as they have in the rest of the tournament, they can throw away their bans and still come out on top. It's just a show of force from these players. Sorry about that, guys. I do recognize that there was a large chunk of lag. My ISP decided to turn everything off for like 5 seconds, so sorry about that. Either way, that is going to be the end of the American casters here on HeflaTV 1. If you do like the casting, you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter and Facebook at HeflaTV, and the VODs will be uploaded right after this stream goes offline and we switch over to the Europeans, and we'll go over there very quickly to youtube.com/HeflaMoke. I've been GrandisV, he's been Mike Loris, and we've been here at the Thailand Championship. Any final closing thoughts on this series?
I don't know if Team Malaysia can be stopped, and because we might only have one caster available for the next set, I might just keep on going. It might be a Dota all-nighter for me.
Cool. Well, we'll see how all of that breaks down. Hope to see you soon for the Thailand Championship, and I might stick around in the chat, so if you want to interact, I'll be there. So for right now, it's going to be some music, some ads, but as we transition into the next game.